Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today we're diving into 50 journaling prompts for recovery from the blog Lestallion. Um, I love journaling prompts.
It's more than just having a nice notebook, though, you
Yeah.
know? These prompts are really designed to help people facing challenges, help them find healing.
Exactly. And Lestallion has actually organized the prompts into 5 different categories. So we've got reflecting on your healing journey,
Okay.
setting goals and intentions, processing emotions, building resilience, and moving forward,
Wow.
with 10 prompts in each.
That's a lot to cover.
It's a lot to unpack here, and I was already like hooked just reading the titles.
Yeah, it's fascinating because by breaking it down that way, they've created a structure that lets you explore all these different facets of recovery. It's not just about looking back, it's about shaping your future, too.
Yeah. Okay, let's just jump into the first section then, reflecting on your healing journey.
Okay.
The very first prompt asks, what does recovery mean to you at this moment in your life? I think that's brilliant because it forces you to personalize the whole concept.
Right. It acknowledges that recovery is not one size fits all. It's about you defining it for yourself on your terms and recognizing that your understanding of it might change over time.
Yeah.
You know, recovery is unique to you.
Love that. Then there's prompt number 3. What are some small victories you've achieved recently in your recovery? I think sometimes we get so caught up in the big picture we forget to celebrate those little wins.
It's like training for a marathon, you know? You don't just focus on the finish line, you acknowledge every mile.
Yeah.
So, celebrating those small victories can be really motivating, especially when things get tough.
Yeah.
You know, it's a reminder that you are making progress.
Yeah.
Even if it's slow.
And Lestallion emphasizes this too with a quote. Recovery is not linear, and setbacks are a part of the process. Every step forward, no matter how small, is progress, and each challenge brings new strength. It's like they're giving us permission to be kind to ourselves.
Healing takes time, and it's not always easy,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
There's going to be bumps in the road, but if you can change your thinking from I failed to what can I learn from this, makes a huge difference.
So true. Okay, let's move to setting goals and intentions.
Okay.
First prompt here asks, what are some goals you've set for your recovery? I love this because it encourages us to be proactive in shaping our futures.
And what's key here is making sure that those goals align with your well-being.
Yeah.
It's not about checking things off a list. It's about setting goals that contribute to your healing and happiness. You know, think about it. What if you achieve all your goals, but you still feel empty inside?
Wow, that's a powerful thought. Okay, prompt number 6 asks, how do you practice mindfulness in your recovery journey? Mindfulness is kind of a buzzword these days,
Yeah.
but how does it actually help with recovery?
Imagine if you could just observe your thoughts and feelings like they're clouds passing by
Yeah.
without getting caught up in them, you
Yeah.
know? That's mindfulness. It's creating space between you and your emotions so you can navigate them more effectively. You know, it can be really helpful during recovery because it helps you manage those feelings and stay focused on your progress.
So instead of being swept away by anxiety or fear,
Exactly.
you can acknowledge those feelings
Yeah.
without letting them control you.
Yeah.
That's really helpful. And Lestallion makes a good point about goal setting. They say goal setting is an important part of recovery, but it's equally important to stay flexible and patient. Celebrate every small step toward your healing.
Right. It's all about balance, you know,
Yeah.
between striving for progress and accepting where you are now. So being flexible means you can adjust your goals as needed, and patience is key in any healing journey. You know, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Now let's get into processing emotions.
Okay.
Prompt number 1 asks, what emotions have been most difficult for you to process during your recovery? I think we try to suppress or avoid negative feelings.
Yeah.
But this prompt encourages us to confront them.
Right. Acknowledging those emotions is a crucial step towards healing. It's like if you have a physical injury,
Yeah.
you know, you wouldn't ignore it and just hope it goes away. You would treat it and allow it to heal.
Yeah.
And emotions are the same. Journaling is like a safe space to explore your emotions and understand where they're coming from and ultimately begin to heal.
It's about giving ourselves permission to feel, even when those feelings are uncomfortable. And prompt number 5 asks about hope. What role does hope play in your emotional journey through recovery when you're facing challenges? It can be easy to lose sight of the light at the end of the tunnel.
That's where hope comes in.
Yeah.
Journaling can help you reconnect with that sense of possibility and just keep moving forward. It reminds you that even when things are bad, There's always something to look forward to.
I love how Lestallion puts it. Emotions can feel overwhelming during recovery, but each emotion you face and process brings you closer to healing. Allow yourself to feel without judgment. They're basically saying, hey, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah. It's about creating space for all your emotions, without shame or guilt. Recognizing that all emotions are valid, even the hard ones, is so important for healing.
It's about learning to understand and accept our emotions rather than fighting them. Okay, let's explore building resilience. Prompt number 2 asks, think about a challenge you've faced recently that required resilience. How did you navigate through it, and what did you learn about yourself? We often underestimate our own resilience.
Absolutely. It's usually only when we look back at hard times that we realize how strong we are. This prompt makes us reflect on those moments when we had to dig deep, find that strength. Acknowledge your resilience and learn from those experiences.
And each time we face a challenge, we build that resilience muscle, so we're better equipped to handle future obstacles. It's like forging steel in fire.
Yeah.
The more heat, the stronger it becomes.
That's a great way to put it. It reframes those challenges into opportunities for growth, which is such a powerful shift in perspective.
Okay, I want to highlight one more prompt here before we move on. Prompt number 7 asks, how do you stay hopeful when recovery feels slow? I think this is where hope and resilience really work together.
Absolutely. When progress feels slow, it can be easy to get discouraged. But if you tap into your resilience, remember your past victories, and hold on to hope, you can push through those hard times. It's like having a cheerleader inside you saying, you got this.
And Lestallion offers this reminder. Resilience is built through experience, and every challenge you face strengthens your ability to recover. Trust in your inner strength and the progress you're making.
You're not alone on this journey, You have the strength to overcome these challenges. And with each obstacle, you just become even more resilient. It's a reminder that even when it feels like you take one step forward and 2 steps back, you're still going forward.
Okay, ready to move on to the final section? Moving forward.
Let's do it. This section is all about picturing your future self and embracing life beyond recovery.
Prompt number 1 asks, what does moving forward in recovery look like for you? It's about defining what a positive future looks like for you.
Exactly. Recovery is not just about overcoming challenges. It's about creating a life that you love.
Yeah.
A life that feels real and fulfilling. This prompt tells you to dream big and picture what that future looks like for you.
Then prompt 5 goes into this idea of living fully, asking, what does it mean to live fully while still in the process of recovery? I love this because it says we don't have to wait until we're fully recovered to enjoy life.
Exactly. It encourages you to be present, even while you're healing. Find joy and meaning now instead of putting your life on hold.
Yeah.
You can still experience joy, do things you love, and connect with others while you're healing.
It's recognizing that recovery is a process, and life doesn't have to stop while you're going through it. And Lestallion puts it beautifully. Recovery is a continuous journey, and every step forward brings you closer to healing. Embrace each moment of progress and trust in your ability to move forward with strength.
It's a great reminder that recovery isn't a destination, it's a journey.
Yeah.
It's about those steps forward, celebrating those wins, and trusting in yourself to keep moving towards a better future.
It's interesting. Lestallion doesn't just give us prompts. They give us these little pieces of wisdom throughout the post, like small steps lead to big progress. It reminds us we don't have to change everything overnight.
Yeah.
It's about being consistent, and those daily actions add up to lasting change.
Yeah, that goes really well with their message of patience and self-compassion. Recovery is a marathon, not a sprint. And it's okay to have days when you need to rest and recharge and just be kind to yourself.
Totally. And then there's this line that really got to me. Resilience grows with each challenge. It's like a mantra for recovery. It reminds us that every challenge makes us stronger and better able to handle future obstacles.
Yeah, it's like changing how you see those hard times.
Yeah.
Instead of seeing them as setbacks, we can see them as chances for growth and building resilience.
Absolutely. We're not just surviving, we're thriving.
Exactly. What's really cool about these prompts is how they emphasize that everything in recovery is connected. It's not about doing these things separately. It's about seeing how they all work together to create healing.
Ooh, I like that interconnectedness. What do you mean by that?
Well, think about how the prompts move from reflecting on your journey to setting goals to processing emotions, building resilience, and finally moving forward. It's not a straight line. It's like a tapestry.
Yeah.
Each thread is important to the big picture.
That's so true. Like, you can't set good goals for your recovery without first figuring out what recovery means to you.
Right.
And you can't really move forward without processing those tough emotions.
Exactly, and building up your resilience.
Each stage builds on the last one. It's like a support system for your healing journey. And those bits of wisdom from Lestallion just reinforce this idea. I think that's the biggest takeaway from these journaling prompts, that recovery is about discovering yourself growing and feeling empowered. It's about learning to handle challenges with grace, celebrating your wins, and trusting your inner strength to keep going.
Well said. It's a unique journey for everyone, but these prompts are a good guide for anyone looking for healing and wholeness.
Before we wrap up this part of our dive, I want to mention a few more prompts that stood out to me. In the Reflecting on Your Healing Journey section, prompt 10 asks, how do you handle setbacks in your recovery? Setbacks are going to happen, so how we deal with them is really important.
Right. This prompt is great because it encourages you to see setbacks as learning experiences.
Yeah.
Not failures. It's about changing your view and realizing that even in those tough times, there's something to learn.
I love that. And then in the Setting Goals and Intentions section, prompt 9 asks, what role does patience play in your goal-setting process? I think patience is something we often struggle with, especially when we're so eager to see results.
Absolutely. Lestallion says it perfectly, really. Patience is key in recovery. It reminds us that healing takes time, and it's important to be kind to ourselves.
So we need to learn to appreciate the journey itself.
Exactly, and that's where journaling comes in. It helps you see your progress.
Yeah.
Celebrate those small wins and realize how far you've come. It's like a physical reminder that you are moving forward, even if you don't feel like it.
Yeah, it's like making a map of your recovery journey with all its ups and downs. And speaking of ups and downs, in the Processing Emotions section, prompt 6 asks, think about a recent time when you felt overwhelmed emotionally. How did you cope, and what could you do differently next time to better manage those feelings?
This one is all about developing healthy ways to cope. For those times when emotions are overwhelming,
Yeah.
it's about knowing what works for you, what helps you to recenter, and creating a set of strategies you can use when you need them.
Because those overwhelming moments are going to happen. It's how we handle them that's important.
Exactly. Journaling is a great way to process those emotions and develop those coping mechanisms. It lets you explore those feelings in a safe space without judgment and find healthy ways to move through them. You know, it's like having a conversation with yourself, but you're writing it down.
And sometimes that's exactly what we need, to just sort through those thoughts and feelings without worrying about judgment or advice. Okay, 2 more prompts I want to highlight before we wrap up this part. In the Building Resilience section, prompt 10 asks, how can you remind yourself of your resilience on tough days? I think this is important because it's easy to forget our strength when we're struggling.
It is. This prompt encourages you to make physical reminders of your resilience. Maybe a quote, a memory, or a list of past wins. Having those reminders handy can be so helpful on those rough days.
Yeah, it's like creating your own personal cheerleading squad
Exactly.
to lift you up when you need it.
And finally, in the Moving Forward section, prompt 8 asks, how do you stay patient with yourself as you move toward healing?
Patience is such a big theme throughout all these prompts. It's like the foundation.
It really is. And this prompt highlights self-compassion. It's a reminder that healing takes time, and it's okay to not have all the answers or to trip up along the way. It's about being kind to ourselves, just like we would be to a friend going through the same thing.
Exactly. We need to be our own best friend, especially when we're recovering.
All right, so we've covered a lot in this first part of our deep dive. I'm feeling pretty inspired by these prompts.
Me too. There's so much wisdom packed into these 50 journaling prompts. It's like a treasure chest waiting to be opened.
Before we move on to the next part, I just want to encourage everyone listening to visit Lestallion's website and check out the full list of prompts. You won't be disappointed.
I agree. These prompts are great for anyone looking for healing and personal growth.
And remember, journaling is personal. So take what speaks to you from these prompts, experiment, and find what works for your healing journey. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Yeah, it's about finding what feels right and helpful for you. It's like giving yourself a gift of self-discovery. You never know what you might find when you really start digging into your thoughts and feelings.
I love that. Okay, so as we move into this next part of our deep dive, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on those bits of wisdom that Lestallion includes in the post. They're like these little reminders or affirmations that we can take with us.
Absolutely. They add another layer to the prompts. You know, they really highlight those ideas of self-compassion, resilience, and celebrating small wins.
For example, one that really stood out to me was, your journey is yours alone. It reminds us that we shouldn't compare ourselves to other people or feel like we have to follow a certain timeline.
Yeah, it's about respecting your own path and going at your own pace.
Mm.
Recovery isn't a race. It's about exploring healing and growth at your own speed.
And then there's this one, embrace the messy moments. I think this is so important because we try to show this perfect image to the world. But recovery isn't perfect at all.
It's about acknowledging those messy moments. They're a normal part of the process. And it's in those vulnerable, imperfect moments that we often learn the most about ourselves.
So true. It's like those Japanese kintsugi bowls. You know, they're repaired with gold. It highlights the cracks and makes them more beautiful because of their flaws.
That's a great metaphor. It's like saying our scars tell a story, and those stories are part of what makes us unique and resilient.
Okay, I have to share one more before we move on. Self-care is not selfish. I've struggled with this feeling guilty about putting my own needs first.
It's a common idea that self-care is like a luxury or something,
Yeah.
but it's actually crucial for our well-being, especially during recovery.
It's like they say, put on your own oxygen mask first before you help others.
Right. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else.
Okay, let's dive back into the prompts. In the reflecting on your healing journey section, there's one I found really insightful. What are you grateful for right now, even with the challenges?
It's like shifting your focus from what's wrong to what's right, even when things are hard.
Because even in the toughest times, there's always something to be grateful for. Even if it's just breathing or having a roof over your head.
And changing your perspective like that can make a huge difference in how you experience your journey. Gratitude is really important for our well-being.
It's like they say, what you focus on expands. So if we focus on the positive, even when things are tough, we're more likely to feel joy and resilience.
And that brings us to another great prompt in this section. What are you learning about yourself through this process? Recovery is all about discovering yourself. And this prompt encourages us to think about the lessons we're learning.
It's about understanding our strengths and weaknesses and being more compassionate towards ourselves.
Exactly. It's like peeling back layers of an onion.
Yeah.
You're discovering these hidden truths about yourself that you might not have known before.
Okay, let's go to the setting goals and intentions section. One prompt that really resonated with me was, what does a fulfilling day look like for you? This goes beyond just goals.
Yeah.
It's about creating a life that aligns with your values.
It's about finding joy and purpose even in the little things. It makes you think about what's really important to you and making choices that support those values.
So it's not just about getting things done, it's about making your life feel meaningful.
Right. And that connects really well with another prompt in this section. What small act of self-care can you do today? It reminds us to take care of ourselves, even when we're busy.
It's about making time for things that make us feel good in our mind, body, and soul. Maybe it's a walk in nature, listening to music, or just having a cup of tea quietly.
Yeah, those little acts of self-care can make a big difference in how we feel and how we show up in the world. It's like recharging our batteries.
And that leads us to the processing emotions section, which, let's be real, can be a bit of a roller coaster.
It can be, but it's also such a crucial part of healing. One prompt that helped me in this section is, what story are you telling yourself about this situation?
Ooh, that's a good one. We often tell ourselves stories that may or may not be true, and those stories can really affect how we feel and react to challenges.
This prompt encourages us to look at those stories and see if they're helpful or not. Are we making things worse than they are? Are we being too hard on ourselves? By becoming aware of those stories, we can start to challenge them and create better ones.
Yeah, it's like we're editing our own thoughts, choosing which stories to believe and which ones to change.
Exactly. And that leads us to another powerful prompt in this section. What would you say to a friend going through the same thing? This helps us use our empathy and compassion. Treat ourselves with the same kindness we'd offer a friend.
It reminds us that we're often way harder on ourselves than we would ever be on someone else.
And by being kind to ourselves, we create a better space for healing and growth.
Okay, I'm really loving these prompts. They're so insightful. Let's move on to the building resilience section. One prompt that caught my attention was, what are your sources of strength and support? We don't have to do this alone.
Absolutely. This prompt helps us identify those people, places, or things that give us a sense of comfort and encouragement. Maybe it's our loved ones, our faith, or our connection to nature.
Right.
Recognizing those sources of support is really important during tough times.
It's like building a strong foundation of support around us with the things that lift us up.
And that connects well with another prompt in this section. What's one thing you can do today to take care of your physical health? Resilience isn't just about mental and emotional strength. It's also about taking care of our bodies.
Because our physical and mental health are connected. When we take care of our bodies, we're also taking care of our minds.
Exactly. It's all connected. And even small steps like going for a walk, eating well, or getting enough sleep can make a big difference.
Okay. I think we're ready for the final section, moving forward. This is about picturing a better future and taking action.
One prompt that I really liked in this section is, what does forgiveness look like to you? Forgiving ourselves or others can be a powerful way to heal and move on.
It's about letting go of anger, resentment, or guilt, so we can move forward with a lighter heart.
And remember that forgiveness is a process. It takes time. And it's not always easy.
Another prompt that caught my eye was, what brings you joy? This might sound simple, but we often forget to make time for things that bring us joy.
It's about reconnecting with things we're passionate about, things that make us feel alive.
Yeah.
Maybe it's spending time with people we love, being creative, or just enjoying the simple things. Joy is important for our well-being.
And that leads us to another important prompt. What does success look like to you? This challenges us to think about success differently, not just about achievements, but what truly matters to us.
It's about defining success based on your values and what you want to achieve, not what other people expect.
So it's not just about status or possessions. It's about living a life that feels real and meaningful to you.
Exactly. And that brings us to the last prompt in this section, and one of my favorites. What's one small step you can take today to get closer to your vision of a better future? This helps us break down our goals into smaller steps, making things feel less overwhelming.
It's about focusing on those small wins, those little actions that can lead to big changes over time.
And it's a reminder that even on days when we don't feel like doing much, we can still take one small step forward.
I love that. It's about celebrating those small victories and believing in the power of consistency. Okay, so we've covered a lot in this deep dive, exploring so many prompts from Lestallion's blog post, 50 journaling prompts for recovery.
It's been a really interesting conversation, hasn't it?
It really has. I feel inspired and motivated to start journaling about these prompts myself. Before we wrap up, I want to share one last piece of wisdom from Lestallion that really resonated with me. Believe in your ability to heal and grow. Sometimes that's all we need to hear, that we have the strength to overcome challenges and create a better future.
It's a powerful message that can help us through tough times, reminding us that we're capable of amazing things.
Absolutely. And, it's not just about believing we can heal, it's about believing we deserve to heal. We all deserve to be happy, healthy, and whole.
I couldn't agree more. Self-love and acceptance are so important for healing.
Okay, I think it's time for us to move on to the final part of our deep dive. We'll be sharing our own reflections and takeaways from these 50 journaling prompts, so stay tuned. We're back for the final part of our dive into those 50 journaling prompts for recovery. I don't know about you, but I feel really energized after looking at all those insightful prompts and wisdom from Lestallion.
Me too. It's amazing how just asking simple questions can make you think so much about yourself and grow. I'm already thinking about which prompts I want to use in my own journaling.
Right, there's so much there. And you know what I really like about Lestallion's approach? It's not just about thinking about the past or only focusing on the future. It's about finding a good balance.
Exactly. It's about all parts of the recovery journey. We talked about celebrating those small wins, building up resilience, dealing with tough emotions, and creating a better future. It's all connected.
And those little pieces of wisdom that Lestallion adds in, they're like these helpful reminders to keep us going. They really highlight those key ideas like self-compassion, patience, and celebrating progress.
They're like little affirmations that we can keep with us. They offer support and encouragement when we need it.
Okay, so before we wrap up this dive, I'd love to hear your thoughts on these prompts. Is there a particular prompt or a piece of wisdom that really stood out to you?
The one that keeps popping into my head is, what does a fulfilling day look like for you? It's a simple question, but it makes you think. It makes us think about what really matters, what brings us joy and purpose.
I love that. It's about creating a life that feels right for you, not just going through the motions. The prompt that really hit home for me was, embrace the messy moments. It's so important to remember that recovery isn't always easy or perfect.
Right.
There will be setbacks, challenges, and times when we feel vulnerable. But those messy moments are also chances to learn and grow.
Absolutely. It's in those moments that we often discover our strength and how resilient we are. And it reminds us that it's okay to not have all the answers, to make mistakes along the way. We're all still learning and growing.
And I think that's a beautiful message to leave our listeners with, that it's okay to not be perfect, to embrace those messy moments, and to believe in ourselves and our ability to heal and grow. Recovery is a journey, and it's a journey worth taking.
It is. And these journaling prompts are a great tool for anyone who wants to start that journey of self-discovery and healing. They offer a way to explore our inner world, process our feelings, and create a life that feels true to ourselves.
So if you're listening and feeling inspired to start journaling, I encourage you to go to Lestallion's website and check out all 50 journaling prompts for recovery. And remember, there's no one right way to journal. Just grab a notebook, find a quiet spot, and start writing.
Just let your thoughts and feelings come out on the page. You might be surprised by what you find.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it helpful and inspiring.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep journaling.